I'm Terry Saka, and this is Rigged Against You. Today, we're going to discuss silver, why it's different, and why it's just getting started. And I know many people have silver has been so manipulated, and over the years, it gets to certain points and it crashes, and the manipulation is ending. And I'm going to show actual real chart data going back decades and decades. You need to see this because when you do, and then you put it together with the geopolitical situation and the fourth turning event of a new financial system coming, you're going to understand that the greatest opportunity of a wealth transfer is right in front of us, and one that is a tangible asset and one that'll protect and preserve and definitely outperform. As I stated in other podcasts, silver and gold will be outperforming the stock market in the next 6 to 18 months. Right now, silver and gold are up nearly 70%, 65%. The market is barely up a few percentage points. I want to show you the real data. Now, this is good stuff because it'll give you confidence, not that somebody's saying something. Now, granted, I had 5 financial licenses. I get the financial world. I'm an accredited asset management specialist. I know I get the financial world, but I want you to see it for yourself because many have given nothing but a tip to the importance of silver, and they haven't properly allocated in the right way with the holdings they have in IRAs and in the stock market. And the last chart I show you is going to give you such confidence that silver is going to extraordinary levels in the future, and many will miss it, and I don't want to see you miss it. The importance of this wealth transfer is too much. We need to be able to be properly diversified and having physical, tangible assets on your side in a retirement account or at home or in a private depository in this time in history couldn't be any more important. If you haven't seen it, go to my podcast, last one about Europe. You've got to see what's going on with Europe. There is a lot more behind the scenes they're not telling you, but it's a big deal. Since then, an amazing peace deal has been struck between Israel and Hamas. President Trump is unbelievable in his ability to bring peace, but he has no control over NATO. The Europeans are not listening to him when it comes to Russia. So this I don't trust. I believe Germany is bankrupt. France is bankrupt, and they are getting ready to institute a central bank digital currency along with digital ID come January. England has now come out and made it clear if you do not have a digital ID, you cannot get a job. And what does that mean to you? Well, not to us yet because we're not doing it, but Europeans. It means everything they do will be documented in the digital world. They will know what you buy, where you go, everything you do. They will be able to dictate. You've had too much meat allowance for the week. You need to be cut off. If you're speeding and they find you're drinking too much coffee, they're going to be able to say, stop drinking coffee or you're going to be dinged out of your account. They will control your bank accounts. Digital ID, digital currency, they control your money. That's why physical, tangible assets outside the system gives you at least something you can barter with and money that's outside of the digital control. You don't think it's coming? Talk to people in Australia. Talk to people in China. Talk to people in Europe because it's coming to them. If you do not comply with what they say, if you are against the narrative or the lies or the corruption or the totalitarian stuff they're jamming down our throats, you will be dinged, fined, and a social credit score will be applied to you. If your social credit score goes down too much, meaning you're non-compliant or you're speeding or you're doing something they say, they will keep you from doing things. In China, if your score goes down too much, you can't get on an airplane or a train. It gets so totalitarian, so dystopian, it is not funny, and it is coming to the West. If you knew the BIS and what they had planned, you would know what I mean. So let me get into this data because I want to give the facts of what really is going on behind the scenes, not just that silver is added to the critical minerals list for the first time in the United States, that central banks are now acquiring physical silver, not even talking Saudi Arabia building the line, that NEOM major city project, and the millions of ounces they'll need in silver for that. The nations around the world are vying for it. It's all about commodities. Commodities are a natural resource that is finite. It's not forever. And the countries are battling for it, no different than crude oil or other natural elements. China controls over 90% of rare earth minerals that are needed to control most of our technology. They want the silver. And they are taking it. And I'm going to show you today why this time around, they're not manipulating it like they used to. If they try it this time, the East will come in and take every single ounce out of the vaults of the West at a discount. And they're already doing it, but give them a reason to buy it at a discount, and they will. So not only silver at all-time highs here at $50 is just the beginning, wait until you see where it's going. So let me give you a little background first. Let's do this. This is the global debt. Now we talk about it, but this is global debt. Rose to a new record high. This is why we're in a fourth turning. When I say fourth turning, do your homework, 80-year cycles. Go back 80 years, World War II, Civil War, 1776. Every 80 years, for some reason in the United States, we go through a major life-changing transformation. It just so happens to be right now, we are ready to transform into, as President Trump said, we want to be crypto capital of the world. We have lost the dollar reserve power. Settlement currency is now settling with China and vast countries in the BRIC nations. We are losing our ground at a time where we've printed more currency than any time in U.S. history. But it's about the world. The whole world is going through a major financial transformation. It is going digital. They're going to control us with it. There will be tremendous opportunities for wealth. I know silver is important because it's outside the system, but even in crypto, if you have utility cryptos like XRP, XLM, HBAR, there are going to be certain cryptos that will run the digital financial system. Now, those are long-term investments, 5, 10 years for extreme wealth, but it's still digital. So I get going into crypto and owning it long-term, but understand it's digital and they can always turn the computer off. Physical assets are vital right now. The world global debt is at an all-time high. They're over. It needs to change, and we're doing it. The whole world is changing. Well, who's going to get stuck with the debt? That's where we're at. As I said before, Europe is bankrupt. France is bankrupt. That's why they're pushing this Russian war. So now that you see the global debt, take a look at this. This is the silver to gold ratio. And I talk about this a lot. When it was up to 100, I was telling people, get out of gold and buy silver. And if you looked at it through time, you'd find that is a brilliant move. Right now, the silver gold ratio, meaning how many ounces of silver it takes to buy 1 ounce of gold, is in the 80s, 80 ounces of silver to 1 ounce of gold. Historically, it's 16 ounces of silver. If we get down just to 35, where we were in 2011, the silver gold ratio, that puts silver at $110 right now, where gold is at $4,000. But if you look at this silver to gold ratio here, you'll see back in 1968 and 1980 where we peaked. And I'm not going to get into the percentages and the details. It'll take too long. I just want you to see on the right side. We're at the very bottom of the actual value to the silver and gold ratio and why it's getting ready to dramatically change. Because we're walking into this fourth turning big financial overhaul, we're going to see another major rise in these bars, which means silver is going to become very valuable. Gold is going to continue to rise. I claim gold is going to at least $10,000 and continuing over the years. But wait until you see the exponential rise in silver. So this is just the silver gold ratio we talk about a lot. It's still way too high. If you own gold, you should be selling your gold and buying silver, and period. I'm sorry, have a little bit, yes, but to be smart for the ROI, that's the big move. Now, here's where we're at. We're on the critical $50 resistance level. You see during the Hunt Brothers of 1980 on the left. In 2008, QE-driven spike to 50. Here in 2025, precious metals bull market is just beginning. I'm telling you, folks, we're in the second inning of what's going on with precious metals. If you understood not only the importance for silver for military, for AI, robotics, and for just basic needs of computers, you'll understand the importance of silver. But this $50 critical level, why we're in a bull market is because we're in a commodity super cycle. Gold is going to continue to rise because they're using it as part of the new digital financial system, backing up stable coins. The Chinese yuan is backing up settlement currency with gold, and they're establishing gold depositories in all the BRIC nations as they're buying gold, putting it in the depositories to back up the currencies. Trade is everything. Settlement currency is all that matters. So the reserve currency the United States hold all of a sudden has lost its luster. Here we are at a triple top right now at $50 in silver. But I'm getting ready to show you something that will be unbelievably irrefutable as why we're going a lot higher. This, and I'm not going to get into the details, but I just want you to see the level of it. This is the silver to the Dow ratio. Look at where it was in 1980. That's when silver peaked and the Dow had crashed and where we're at. Look at on the right. We are at the bottom of this. Silver and Dow will meet. Think about how scary that is, by the way. The silver, gold, and gold, it's all mixed in. We're going to see an explosion. I'm not sure, is silver and gold just going to go that high? Or is the Dow coming down that much, silver, gold going up and meeting? You're going to see this change, and there's going to be almost a 1-to-1 in some capacity. My guess, gold and the Dow will be at 1-to-1 at some point. So where gold goes, silver goes. That's why this is so important. But look at how at the bottom we are on the silver to Dow ratio. Just unbelievable. This is the silver to the U.S. federal debt ratio. Look at where it was in 1980 when silver peaked. Look at where we are. Now look at 2011 was just a blip when we went to 50. And look on the right here now at 33. I'm not going to get into those numbers again, but all I'm saying is we are at the bottom of the value of silver to the federal debt. We all know we're trillions and tens of trillions and probably more like hundreds of trillions in debt when you put in all of our obligations and all the shadow money and the money of the trillions they're not telling you that they sent overseas. But look at how undervalued silver is to the debt, and yet it's a commodity so important, it's right next to crude oil in world demand. Now look at this one. This is silver to the money printing, the currency printing. It's called M2. This is the money supply. Typically gold and silver follow with the money printing, but they haven't this time, and that is changing. You can see in 1980, look at that peak. Look at where we're at in 2011, and then now. We are just getting started to the amount of currency that is printed, to how undervalued silver really is. It's just incredible stuff, to be honest. Real silver price. Here we're at today. Now, this is an inflation index to how we're doing it, but the real silver price in 1980 was at $199. 2011 was at 72, and here we are today at 47. We are going so much higher in the real silver prices when it comes to inflation, M2 money supply, federal deficit. We haven't even begun. When you see where it's going, when we get silver back up to the levels where you see on the left here for the 1980 peak, we are talking hundreds of dollar silver because this is inflation adjusted. So look how undervalued silver is on the right, being only $50.47 in this chart. But just getting to the 1980 level of currency, silver's already $200 an ounce. Just amazing where we're going. Now, this is the silver, and I like this one, but this is silver 6-decade cup and handle pattern. This is the big one. This is the one that will say it all. This is 60 years of a cup and handle pattern that is playing out like clockwork. And as you can see on the right where the handle has been formed, we are getting ready to explode to the upside just on the technical of silver. This is just the beginning of where we're going. I project silver to be, over the next handful of years, hundreds of dollars an ounce. And I know many people have talking about it a lot more. Obviously, it can. Even if silver was $1,000 an ounce, it doesn't raise the prices to Elon Musk's Tesla and electronics and the military. They have all the money. They'll just keep spending no matter what the price is. Silver is going so much higher. From here could literally be 1,000% return over the next handful of years because of the absolute demand, the critical minerals list nature, and the expansion into AI, robotics, and technology. And unfortunately, we're not finding it in the miners. There are a few mining projects. So on the positive side, there are a few mining projects that are out there. I know Silver Tiger Metals has a really good claim right now, but we're probably 10 years away from being able to pull some of that silver out. And with the expansion into robotics, electronics, AI, and the way the world's moving, just take a look at Saudi Arabia with that line and that NEOM project. If you haven't seen it, go Google it. It's the most incredible futuristic city you'll ever see. And the millions of ounces of silver needed for that is just unbelievable. It's coming. The demand is ferocious, and we don't have the supply. We're open pit mining right now. I know some people say, oh, there's more in the COMEX. There's supply here. It's not there. The United States is even importing silver right now. That's how lack of supply we have. It's coming, and it's going to come quick. Now, what's going on in the actual marketplace with the stock market? For all of you that are still in the stock market, and I know because the retail are in, smart money has been selling. Warren Buffett is still in major $350 billion in cash. Smart money, which are hedge funds and high level institutional, are selling out. They're out of the market. They're selling into you, the retail. When I was at AG Edwards as a financial advisor, they trained us on this. They are selling into you, into the stock market because of FOMO. Many of you are in FOMO mode, fear of missing out. Well, you're not missing out of anything. The stock market's up barely 5% this year. Silver and gold are up almost 70%. You're not missing out in the stock market. You've got to take serious because they're getting out. $3.6 billion in institutional selling alone recently. $1.3 billion from hedge funds. $200 million of retail buying. You see, I wanted to show you this, not so much the numbers because they're not that big, but the point is institutions and hedge funds are selling. Retail, we the people, are the ones buying. The imbalance is absolutely glaring. And I want to end it with this. The story will shift from years of frustration to stories of incredible fortunes made. the kind of life-changing generational wealth that investors dream of. I'm excited and waiting for that breakout, but silver may pause for a period of time to catch its breath, and that's okay. And I actually hope it does, because I want to make sure many more purchase and get in before it takes off for good. So in conclusion, we have made the case all through this podcast that while silver's rallies through 1980 and 2011 were short-lived, they were short-lived spikes that discouraged many for decades, the current move is extremely different. This time, silver is in a sustainable and organic bull market in which prices will rise significantly and remain at those high levels permanently. One of the key reasons that outcome will happen is because silver today is much cheaper than it was in 1980 and 2011, as I showed you in the charts. When measured against multiple benchmarks, including inflation, the money supply, gold, the U.S. national debt, and the stock market, you now understand that this is the time precious metals investors will not only see a phenomenal return in the years to come, it will outperform the alternatives of the stock market. Yes, there will always be individual stocks that could do very well. But overall in retirement accounts, IRAs, cash in the bank, which you don't own any of those, you're an unsecured creditor. It's on the books. The Dodd-Frank law laid it out. Commercial Code 5 and 6 has laid it out. You don't own your stocks, bonds, and currency in the bank. You've given them a loan. You're an unsecured creditor. And if the system systemically collapses, they can take it. That's called a bail-in. And I just think being properly diversified, which many are not, you're even seeing large banks raising gold and silver holdings. They're now telling people to hold substantially more than what they used to. They used to tell you own 2 or 3%. Now they're up to 20%. I would even be higher than that, but to each their own. All I know is this is the bull market, genuine, organic, and legit, where silver is going to places many will not even begin to imagine. You think $50 is high. When it's $100, you're still going to want to buy it. It is going substantially higher. The manipulation is over. Every time they try, the East will come in and take it. And I just want to say, I hope many of you will catch on to this that are still in the stock market. And I hope you prosper greatly in the years ahead, because this is not a normal time. Normalcy bias is a big factor in the United States. Our media is not telling you what's going on globally. And normalcy bias is nothing more than ignoring the truth because you haven't seen it or have ever been part of it. So I'm not saying that we're just like, duh, we haven't been fully informed. The world is going through an economic transformation. You hear the words Great Reset, and it is happening as we're speaking. There are many tentacles to the Great Reset. One is money and controlling it. And the only way they're going to wipe out a lot of this debt is substantially higher gold prices and in turn, silver. I can see gold at $10,000 to $20,000 an ounce over the years, and that's not a joke. If we revalue gold in the treasury now, and you know we're importing gold, the central bank, our gold on the books in the treasury is at $35 an ounce. We just revalue to where the current price is now, we would have almost $1 trillion in instant liquidity. I can see gold go to $20,000 and have $4 to $5 trillion of instant liquidity provided to the Treasury, because they do gold certificates to the Federal Reserve, and it gets kind of discombobulated in how they explain it. But I'm just here to say gold revaluation is on the table, and I hear them out there, oh, that's a double-edged sword. It means the dollar's bad, and this is economy, the U.S., and there it is. They're going to be doing it because they have to compete with the BRICS in the East. We need to show value why the United States is still a viable entity to invest into. I really believe the dollar is going to be let go. We're going to see it come down 30-40% on that Mar-a-Lago Accord plan. Interest rates come down to 1%. These are perfect storms for extremely high gold and silver prices. But it's that act alone will allow the dollar, not the dollars per se, but the U.S. treasuries to still be liquid and invested into. That's why I believe stable coins, the Genius Act was done. They're going to start stuffing the treasuries into the stable coins. We need more than that. The dollar, they're dumping. Treasuries, they're not buying. And I won't be surprised if for the 250th anniversary of the United States next summer, we hear about a 50-year treasury bond backed by gold. So I hope this was informative. Please pass it along. Consider subscribing if you have not. Pass it to friends. This is legit data as to why you want to get into silver and why being protected and preserved will give you peace of mind going forward in all the chaos that is in front of us. So until next time, God bless you.
With all of the recent changes in the political and financial markets, there has never been a better time than right now to invest in silver and gold. When governments simply print billions of dollars in paper money in hopes of solving financial shortfalls, you know that it is time to buy and hold assets of true and lasting value. Free information is available to you right now by calling 888-747-3309. Whether you are a new investor or you're interested in preserving the value of your retirement accounts, we make it easy for you to make smart decisions for your financial future. The specialists at Cornerstone are here to serve you, work to satisfy your retirement goals, and communicate with respect. Call us right now at 888-747-3309. That's 888-747-3309. Or visit us online at cornerstoneassetmetals.com. That's cornerstoneassetmetals.com.